What up? What up? What up? It's your boy ARP. We back here with the Sorry is True podcast. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in as always. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I want to give a big shout out once again, as always, all the subscribers, everybody that likes, shares, and comments on the content over here. I'm really liking the way that we pushing the podcast side of this channel. I really appreciate y'all. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all coming in, aka checks and balances. I did see that comment on one of my recent videos too. So I saw somebody say I may have coined somebody that follows the channel. I may have coined checks and balances, and I want to be crystal clear. I just did that on the other stream, talking about giving people their credits. When you're confident in who you are, what you bring to the table, what you do, you don't have a problem giving credits. I had a couple streams ago where I said, yo, I want to come up with a name for the chat. We got rare breeds because it's RBE for life. I got it inked on me, rare breed for life. But I thought that could be a little bit, little common maybe, or definitely not corny, but left out alone. I want to get a little bit more creative than that. I saw people, and I asked everybody to weigh in. I said, drop a comment on what y'all think. And I saw some people say the bricks. I thought about that too. I left that alone, and I was like, the thing about the bricks, there really is bricks on the battle rap side of things. I want to leave that alone. And I saw somebody putting in the comments checks and balances, and I said, man, that fits perfect because it's the theme of Sorry is True. Over here, nobody's perfect. It's not about us being 100% right all the time, but we damn sure ain't gonna be 100% wrong all the time. But what we will do is keep it open-minded and keep it 100. That's what it's about over here. When people's doing the BS and whatnot, checks and balances. And I even want y'all to provide checks and balances on me. So I appreciate y'all. So yes, I asked for y'all feedback. I saw one of those comments and I said, that's a good one. So shout out to you, homie, whoever came up with that. Checks and balances for the name of our movement over here in our chat. Jay Breed, I see y'all. Shout out to you, man. You just had a ridiculous battle that dropped on the channel. Everybody check that out. But y'all see the title. We're going to get into that in a second. I do have a little bit more time this afternoon. Just had me a little energy drink. I don't really mess with energy drinks too much. But I said, you know what? I'm going to hang out for a few. I had a long day. This is going to be my second time getting in the gym today. So I said, let me have me a little energy drink. By the time that all settles in, I'll be done my stream and I'll go tear the gym up. But this is going to be an interesting conversation. And I might even pull y'all into the conversation at times too. I'm going to play a Meek Mill video of some of the stuff that I feel is at play here. And I'm also going to keep an eye on the chat when it comes to my audio. If you notice, my microphone is in a different spot. I'm switching up some of my audio setup. I've been playing with the settings. My last couple lives, I wasn't big on how the audio sounded because I've been changing things. But I want to keep growing the podcast side of this. I want to keep working on the quality. I'm not a cell phone randomly sitting in my car guy. I want my setup to be, high caliber and high quality. So I'm going to keep paying attention to the chat and the comments. Also, shout out to all the mods. Once again, that's in the chat already. Shout out to all the members. Let's talk about it. We're going to walk through this. Meek Mill. You see the title says, is Meek Mill's career over? It's deeper than rap. It's deeper than rap. Let's start here. Chat, as well as anybody else that ends up watching this. Shout out to Act with the gifts as always. I see you, homie. Who's the richest person that you know? Think about it for a second. I see y'all saying no Diddy. Y'all don't know anybody of Diddy's caliber. There's no Diddy in your cell phones, so to speak. Somebody that's a billionaire, multi-millionaire. How many rich people do y'all know? How many rich people can you call at the drop of a dime? Anybody in the chat? Right now, there's hundreds of people in the chat. I'm going to guess that less than 2% of you at your disposal have in your cell phone right now a bunch of millionaires that you can call right now. You want to know why I could go with such a low percentage? Because That's actually the known statistics. Like if you go pull up the percentage, I don't have it in front of me right now. Y'all could hook me up in the chat. But pull up somebody could pull up on Google. What percentage of Americans or what average household is making more than $1 million in America? If it's probably less than 2%, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, it changes year to year as the stats get updated, right? Which means that not many of us have those type of people in our cell phone, right? Why do I bring that up? We just setting foundation. We're gonna walk with this one. And I'm gonna get to the Meek Mill video and all that. We just setting foundation. I feel like many of us think that we don't change and we wouldn't change no matter what, no matter our circumstances, no matter our environment, no matter who we are around. Many of us think that we would never change. We think that who I am supposed to be, I'm going to stay the same forever. I'm never going to compromise who I am. My personality, my character, my morals, my integrity, the things I would do, the things I wouldn't do, they're never going to change. I am who I am, right? Of course, there's a lot of factors and variables that come into play there. Money comes into play, influence comes into play. You want to know what comes into play a lot too? Location. We say that term about real estate a lot, right? Location, 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 location. We always believe that, right? And I know many of y'all are just like me, but you're not going to really know it until you go through it. And many of us believe we would never change. I would never alter. I'm going to be the same person I was raised to be. Less than 2%. I see y'all in the channel. 1.8. Thank you. Thank you, checks and balances, for going and pulling up the information for me. I appreciate y'all. Less than 2%. Okay. Average household, would be a household that makes over $1 million in America, less than 2%. So if you happen to be in the chat and you happen to have $1 million come into your household, welcome or shout out to you. You are of the 2%. Okay. Let's stick with location, 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 and environment, right? You ever hear that phrase? You could take the nigga out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the nigga. It's a lot of cliche phrases that as you gain more and more wisdom, more and more experiences, or if you look around and you just pull on other people's examples that they set, some of these little cliche phrases ain't true, or we shouldn't necessarily hold them at heart. There's a funny one like, keep your enemies close. Well, physically, that's stupid, right? Remember the pap lyric for all my mixtape heads? Keep your enemies close. Keep my enemies close for what? I catch my enemies close, I'm gonna roast his guts, right? Because when you really analyze some of these cliches, they don't necessarily make that much sense. And I could prove it with a lot of y'all when we go back to the other one of you take the nigga out the hood, but you can't take the nigga out the hood. Or you can take him out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the nigga, right? Let's go back to that. How many people around Meek over the years have said, Meek isn't this, Meek isn't that, Meek never got into nothing, he never was a gangster, nothing like that? You want to know what Meek 100% is, no matter what? I didn't grow up with him. I'm not from Philly. Definitely, he's a hood nigga. We've seen these videos. We've seen his early battles. We've seen him in the hood and the type of people he was around and him in the streets and whatnot and coming up in that type of era in that arena and where he's from and whatnot. Definitely a hood nigga. It's just like the shit Sue Surf was breaking down when he was in the face-off of Calico. The nigga that's from the hood, you know what I'm saying? That don't mean that he's a gangster and he's doing street shit. He may not be a street nigga, but he's definitely a hood nigga because he's from the block still. So he understands what's going on. And he might step one foot in every once in a while. Meek Mill probably did little things here and there, but everybody kind of from Philly says that he wasn't the guy out there busting his gun and flipping keys and all that. And that's there's no problem with that. There's no problem with that at all. But the thing about that catchphrase of you could take the nigga out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the nigga. Once again, I keep saying that certain cliches, they're not true. We just say them because they're common, right? One thing that most people do, the average human being does, is adapt. A lot of y'all in this chat right now, right? Y'all may not be the most reckless and craziest people in the world, But God forbid you get locked up and you going to sleep next to your bunkie is an animal, and the cell next to you is people that don't like you because you look a certain way or you're a certain nationality or whatever the case may be. You might turn into a killer. You might turn into a monster while you're in jail. You know how many people go to jail as, like, let's say like a geek or a nerd, catch a case in there, come out tattooed up and all types of war stories. They come home different people and whatnot. They had to adapt. They had to adapt. Meek Mill didn't have to be the toughest person in the world or the most gangster person, but the surroundings that he was in, he adapted. He adapted. He survived. And you know what he became? A hood nigga. So right now at this point, I'm still not taking nothing from him. Stay with me. Stay with me. Adaptation is a human characteristic. Okay? A lot of y'all, I know for sure that if I have a face-to-face conversation with y'all gonna sound and talk just like me. You're gonna hear the slang and or the hip hop or the hood in your voice and in your lingo and in your delivery. You're gonna hear it, right? But if I walk into a bank, the way that I might sound to y'all in my regular everyday talk, am I gonna sound like that talking to a teller? You adapt to your environment. We adapt to our older heads that's around us, right? If I'm sitting on the porch talking with a group of my people, right? All of my age, all of my same type of background or whatever. And then I walk into the crib, and I walk into the kitchen, and you got my grandmother, my grandfather there. Am I gonna talk the same? We switch up the way we talk. How many of y'all gonna talk to the police the way that you talk to your best friend? Right? Some of y'all, a lot of y'all, hopefully all of y'all, you get pulled over, you don't act the way that we be seeing these motherfuckers acting on the internet. You adapt. You adapt to the situation, you adapt to your surroundings. It doesn't make you fake because you adapted. But hold on, there is some fake shit that we still gonna apply here as we analyze in this Meek Mill shit, right? Adaptation is a human characteristic. That's the only ground that I'm laying there. There's nothing wrong with somebody adapting. Now, when we stick to this whole could take the nigga out the hood, but can't take the hood out the nigga. And the reason why I started off early talking about how many millionaires have y'all ever been around? How many millionaires are in y'all phone that y'all could pick up the phone and call? Here's the thing with Meek Mill. Meek Mill being the hood nigga that he was, not coming from nothing. When he had to adapt to those rooms, when he had to get around those people, there's a difference between adapting and being turned out. That's the difference. That's the difference. We watch certain people go through these levels because there's power structures in every single arena. Everybody has an agenda. Everybody. Whether it's the owner of your record label, whether it's the owner of the supermarket chain that's in your neighborhood. Everybody has an agenda, and you adapt to what's going on around you. This is a hood population. This is a hood area, or whatever. Okay, we're gonna put a check cashing store or a gun store or a liquor store in every 3 miles within each other. Right? There's agendas. There's people understanding who they're dealing with and who they're around. 100%. 100%. So when you put Meek Mill around these people that are above him, right? And he's not necessarily adapting, but he's getting turned out. He's getting turned out by people that have agendas. The first one, I remember having conversations about this years ago with people. I thought was like a kind of a indication. When Meek Mill got out of jail and they put him fresh on a helicopter and flew his ass right into the 76ers game. He comes out either before the game or during halftime to ring the bell. We're talking from jail, helicopter to the game, right? I'm not trying to say that's impossible, but then just around that same time, we're all saying that, yo, Meek is around the owner of the Sixers and whatnot, and he's starting to get tapped in with Jay-Z and the whole prison reform stuff. Anytime you're talking about prisons, anytime you're talking about prison reform, anytime you talk about legislations and laws and whatnot, and Meek Mill was a part of that and whatnot, right? And Jay-Z was pushing some of that too, him and Beyonce. There's agendas. There's people above you with agendas. Like real talk. Hold on, make sure my audio is good. Hold on, my audio's good. Are we good? My audio's good. Okay, I think I'm good. Okay, I think I'm good. So there's people above you with agendas, right? Not only are these people having their agendas, but they're way more powerful than Meek Mills, who's really like a bottom feeder, right? And I don't mean that as far as like he doesn't have more money or more success than the average person. We just said 1.8% households are even over $1 million in this country, right? So we already said that. But go back to like the Chris Rock joke where he says, you think now we know Shaq now, of course, is wealthy, but the concept back then of what he was saying make 100% sense. He says Shaq ain't wealthy. The man that signs his checks is wealthy. Beautiful Chris Rock joke, but a deeper concept there, and a deeper reality there. He said the person that cuts Shaq the check and says, "Here, nigga, go buy yourself a bouncing car with some spinning rims." Understand the concept there, right? Understand the concept there. These people walk into some of these offices and it's a different ball game. You walk into the office of the owner of that football team, of that basketball team, of that record label. These motherfuckers got to adapt and act different and talk different, just like the grounds I was saying earlier, how we adapt to our surroundings, right? So when you put Meek Mill around these people, even like, let's say, a Diddy, a billionaire, a powerful person that's tapped into so much, that holds the keys to your success. A person that could say, just like that, you're on, you're off, you're a millionaire, you're dead, you're in, you're out, all of that, right? The people that can get around these type of people, be in these type of rooms, be a part of those type of conversations, adapt instead of being turned out is the difference. When we look at Jay-Z, doesn't look compromised. But do you really know the type of shit that Jay-Z is involved with or has been a part of to close certain deals or to be in certain rooms or whatever? You guys don't. We don't fucking know that. I say all the time, that's my definition of selling your soul. I know there's people out there that think selling your soul is like I guess a demonic thing, right? That there's rituals and there's human sacrifices and there's blood oaths and whatnot. And who the fuck knows? There's people that actually do some of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, I did watch a lot of that stuff when I was younger too, the Bohemian Groves and the Bilderberg stuff and all that. I watched all that. I'm hip to it. The real Freemasonry structures and all that from both sides. Like, I'm hip to all of that shit. You see what I'm saying? But to me, the definition of selling your soul is purely sacrificing your integrity, your morals of knowing right from wrong for personal gain. Even though what we do is wrong, knowing that the product that I'm putting out might be inspiring some of these kids to go kill each other or sell drugs or to live a fast life to drive the cars that I drive, but I'm signing the same piece of paperwork right here that's about to give me $20 million. Shit. I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. That's the Jay-Z line, right? So I got rich and gave back to them. That's the win-win. Truthfully, I want to rhyme like common sense, but I did 5 mil. I ain't been rhyming like common sense, right? Think about it. That's to me, when you have to sell your soul. And I think that's what fucking Meek Mill couldn't manage. I don't think he was able to manage being in some of these rooms and being around some of these people, just being the typical average hood nigga coming from where he came, and then getting around certain people. And instead of once again adapting and still while maintaining your own solid, I guess, foundation of who you are, because you're going to have to make sacrifices. The higher up you go, you got to make sacrifices. I just think that he got turned out instead of adapting. Once again, adaptation is okay. It's just how are you adapting? What are you sacrificing? And there's pieces in here that show it. That really, really show the shit. Really, really show like Meek Mill's transitions as he was garnering attention, money, power, right? Just recently, Who was he going back and forth with? Academics, right? And supposedly said something like he called the mayor and or text the mayor and said something like academics is the one that's responsible for some of the killings in my hood or something like that. And academics is like, yo, you the street nigga, and you basically you snitching on me to the mayor. That was just like news a couple weeks ago, right? And then people ask themselves like, why does Meek Mills have the mayor's number? Why? Because to me, all that prison reform stuff and him becoming like a face and having that Jay-Z endorsement and then him getting out of jail and being flown in a helicopter directly to jail to the Sixers game, he was a face behind some of that stuff. Whether he knew it or not, people have agendas. If I'm the mayor, what do I get out of being in touch or in communication with a Meek Mill? If I'm the owner of the Sixers, what do I get out of being in touch or being in communication with Meek Mill? Right? If I'm government and part of writing prison reform, like all these different pockets still need representatives. I'm not tripping out on some Illuminati shit right now. I'm just talking about the realities of needing certain things to push certain agendas. It's no different than a presidential run, right? When you'll see, a president out here shaking hands and kissing babies or talking a certain lingo from person to person or from state to state or city to city and him adapting to the people, he's just trying to garner certain type of influences and votes, right? So if I'm some old, can't necessarily connect with Black America or Black culture, some legislate up all the way up here, right? Who's going to do that for me? Who's going to do it? Who's going to push some of that stuff for me? Right? You have to have these connections out here. You have to have these faces out here. The most powerful people, the richest people in the world are faceless. We don't know them. They're like Chris Rock said, they're the people that's cutting the check to Shaq. You see what I'm saying? And these people have to get in certain lines and stay in certain lines to have that type of power. 100%. 100%. If Diddy gets off, right? If Diddy is guilty of a lot of shit over the years and he gets off, it's because he knows a lot and or he's still tapped in and friends with those higher up type of people. What movie is it? It's the shit with Nicolas Cage, when he's a gun seller. What's the name of that movie, y'all? Nicolas Cage when he's a checks and balances. Hook me up. I don't feel like Googling it. Hook me up, y'all. What's the name of the movie when Nicolas Cage is a gun seller? Him and his brother. He's selling guns. I'm gonna rock with the chat. I'm gonna wait until somebody nails it. God of War. Thank you. Shout out to Coach. That's the first. Coach was the first one. Prime. I see y'all. Yeah, y'all on y'all joint. Checks and balances. What up? Look at the end of that shit. When he sat there arrogantly in front of the detective, like, I'm gonna tell you what's about to happen. Phone's about to ring. Might as well take these cuffs off me right now. I'm gonna be pardoned. I'm gonna walk out the front door. Right? This is art imitates life. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see some of this old ass shit in like The Simpsons and whatnot, like these people be tapped in, right? Like art imitates life for a reason. And what's going on up there is a powerful chess game. And the Meek Mills of the world are just pawns. There is compensation for being a pawn on my chessboard. You know what it is? It's $1 million. Here's my cell phone number. Invite you to this party. Even Lil Baby is going through that right now. You know what? We'll get to the Lil Baby one in a second. Let's play it. Let's play some of this one on the Meek Mill shit. And I'm not even putting on this necessarily to clown him, but we all remember this one. Hold on. It's not really about these clips, y'all. It's just technically what we're doing also is we're showing the real Meek Mills by watching some of these videos, right? Anybody can have a mistake and fall down some fucking icy stairs. Right? I'm not trying to laugh at that. But there is a little of a damn, I don't want to say stupidity, but I'm not here to disrespect nobody. There is a little bit of a hey dude, wake up type of factor to Meek at times, right? They be killing him online. I'm not here to kill him like that. But even this right here, I'm a chess player. Like your king is out during the opening of a game when people are developing their pieces and pushing pawns. And but anyway, and anyway, it's just examples that show it's a typical hood nigga, right?
So you come in the house and your girlfriend is playing this song right here.
And you don't get to these type of rooms without help or certain people endorsing you, right? Where's the ones that I'm really looking for? This is the one that I'm really looking for. This one.
Helps Meek, because you got your beat in tennis. You got your beat. Keep going. Count out loud. Count out loud. 30. Huh? 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 41, 42. Keep going. Keep going. 7, 8, 9, 1, 2. Keep going. Keep going. Don't cheat on your buddy hops. They suck. Your buddy hops suck.
Yeah, don't play that. Mess my stream up. Play no damn music on my joint. That really was the one that validates the whole premise that was set in here of being turned out. Sorry it's true, y'all. Let's be fair. Okay. This could have just been a lost bet. He could have been on a tennis court. He could have been playing with somebody. I bet you that if you lose, you got to jump around like a bunny rabbit on camera. Certain people do some freaky or some stupid ass shit for their bet. If I'm playing you in tennis and I don't even play tennis and we got a bet, it's going to be like money or I don't know. If I know you hate a certain team, you got to wear the team that you hate's jersey for a week or something like that. I ain't going to ask you bunny hop on my camera, no shit like that. But hey, different type of people, right? But look at the scenery. Look at the environment. When we say location, and being around certain type of entities, people, environments, and adapting from what he's wearing. Look at what's that, like palm trees in the background. Some of y'all, there's people in this chat that may never have even seen a tennis court. I'm not talking about like on the internet or on TV. I'm talking about like literally stepped on a tennis court, even though you don't need to be rich to get on a tennis court. Like there's a lot of communities and subdivisions that have tennis courts and shit. But this ain't what Meek is from. This ain't what he's from. And he's got just a lot of these examples where he was just literally turned out by the people that he's around, the people that he needs to stay clicked in with because they are providing him some type of opportunity. They are above him, or they have just as much, if not more money than him. And when he got into those fucking rooms and those arenas and those environments, those tennis courts, he didn't know how to act. He didn't know how to carry himself. He didn't know how to adapt while still being the same person. Now, when we tie all of this into the title, is Meek Mill's career over, right? The problem with hip hop is it's greatly associated with your image. If you come out and you're a street rapper, if you've been for 5 years, a drug dealer, a gangster, a shooter, 1090 Jake is trying to do that to Rick Ross right now, bringing up the CO stuff again, right? What's the name Rick Ross? Everybody knows that's not even his name. Freeway Ricky Ross, like fucking a drug dealer, right? And Rick Ross is using a drug dealer's name. You see what I'm saying? So if you come out and you claim that you're me, you're a fucking regular 9-to-5 and civilian, tax-paying civilian, you don't shoot nobody, you're not a gangster, you're not in no gang, you're not a gangbanger, that's me. You want to come out and expose ARP for not being a gangster? It's like, duh, like I never told you that I was. I don't portray to be one. But if I'm writing music talking about bang, bang, shoot 'em up, killing everything, moving, and if you play with me, I'm doing this, you play with me, I'm doing that, and we had this amount of work up on a block or whatever, we got some of his old heads like an old Skino that come out and be like, he didn't do none of that shit. You see what I'm saying? True or not. But even still, your image is so associated with your career in hip hop, right? This type of shit, occurrences over the years, could lead towards your demise. They don't want to let you grow, especially the hip hop Black culture and Black community. Don't want to see you grow, because if you're growing in a way where you're compromising who we thought you was, and instead of once again adapting, you seem to be turned out, different ball game. Nobody ever lost respect for Jay-Z over the years. You might see him at some fucking fashion show with a pink tuxedo on or whatever. Jay-Z has never came off to us as if he sacrificed who he is. Still seems like he is who he is. You might pop up courtside with a $500 million watch or some shit like that, and you know your lifestyle changes, and the people that's around you, their lives change, and we see the growth. We see that you are far removed from the hood, but you as a man, we don't interpret much differently. Whereas Meek, we see you being a gangster bunny hopping. Could have just been a lost bet. Let me be fair. But your image is being killed. Your image is nothing of what they want to hold you to as it relates to your music. And he keeps getting on social media and showing this side that appeared to have been turned out. Lil Baby is another example, right? When I say Lil Baby is another example, what was that party that everybody's at? Lil Baby, all white party. But it was like he's hugging and all that. This shit right here, right? This one. Right. Right. That's the shit. Hold on. I don't want to hear no damn music. You ain't gonna play no music on my joint and have my video having problems. Right. Stop trying to play music on my joint. All right, we just found a different joint. But y'all already see it up here, right? Y'all already see it. This is what they're talking about. You see, Lil Baby right now, some people say his momentum is on a decline. I kind of see that too. It's like Lil Baby couldn't do no wrong the previous last 2 years, right? Now it looks like, hold on, are we sharing this? Y'all got this correctly? Yeah, y'all got it. Okay, cool. Now it looks completely different. It looks completely different for Lil Baby as far as the energy that he has right now. His energy is just like, another Lil Baby joint, or he doesn't come off like the super gangster that he once was. They will hold you to that. That's how the fan bases are in the hip hop culture. Lil Baby at one point felt like there was no footage of him like even smiling. They was making viral videos out of Lil Baby doing regular stuff. Like, let's say Lil Baby runs down a block. They're like, Lil Baby running, because they just thought that he was this robotic street gangster, right? I guess that was his image. And like the old pictures of him standing, you know, for a photo op with his hand in his hoodie, holding a joint or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the image of everybody that everybody holds on to. But as he makes more money and gets into these different rooms and gets next to some of these people, all these power structures and people that's above him, it starts looking like this, right? He's in recent songs trying to denounce that I didn't paint my fingernails in recent videos where it looked like I painted my fingernails. Why? Because everybody's looking at him like, yo, dude, have you transitioned out of hip hop imagery that we see you in? And it's the adaptation versus being turned out. Now, I don't think Lil Baby's anything like a Meek Mill in this respect, but this is now how the imagery changes. Your image. You go from being this hood gangster presentation guy to now you're into fashion. You know, we see you on the block in all these pictures, and now we see you over here rubbing shoulders with these big wigs and billionaires and whatnot. And you look like you're having too much fun. It's not fair. It's stupid. It's a small-minded way of thinking, right? But this is what literally Meek Mill is going through, and his occurrences drastically are affecting his image. He was never able to adapt without being turned out. That's the difference. When we look at these people, it just feels like the authenticity of who we thought they were is gone. I'm not on some Illuminati shit. I'm just saying, if we watch the hood nigga of Meek Mill move into these different rooms, move up the ladder, it's not coincidence when, okay, you're sitting next to the owner of the Sixers and you got the mayor's phone number that he's a text message away and all that. These people are using him the same way he thinks that he's using them for success. But with all that always comes a price. What we do is wrong. Once again, AKA selling your soul. Once again, everybody in those lanes has to sacrifice something, right? But what are you sacrificing? They damn near accusing Meek Mill of sacrificing his, right? Alleged audio of him and Diddy, right? What are you sacrificing once you start moving up the ladder? That's what they're killing Meek Mill with, right? And I think like somebody of his stature, your career is not over anytime soon because he's always going to be making more money than the average household. He's going to have enough money to stay well ahead of the average person, right? His name is going to be strong enough for years to come for bookings and features or whatever the case may be. But your lifestyle, your cost of lifestyle, it's gonna drastically change over the years unless his image is able to do a full rebound. And you see people they go up the hill, they get to a peak, and then if a bunch of stuff is happening while they're at their peak and they start to have these sharp declines, very rarely do we see anybody ever make it back up to their peak. If you can't make it back up to your peak, your lifestyle, your cost of living has to change. You start seeing these celebrities selling their homes, selling their cars, trading in their jewelry. You see what I'm saying? You don't see them doing music anymore. They better find transitions. Go ahead and transition into podcasting. Go ahead and transition into what else are we seeing people do a lot? Podcasting is like the biggest transition. We see a lot of people, a lot of celebrities get into ex-basketball players, all types of stuff, right? Because the content is heavy out there. But that's what you're going to continue to see. Because I just don't see a Meek Mill type of person having that drastic of a decline and then having to bounce back up to his peak. So every time that he sells a car or sells a crib online, like he just did with his truck, people's going to laugh. They're going to point it out, whatever. And for him, he's still going to be doing better than most, but he's just never going to be looked at the same. Never. So when we say, is this the end of Meek Mill's career? Is his career over? His career is over in the sense of as we knew it. He'll never get back to his peak. He'll never get back to his old image of when people held him up in that regard. And his image is going to continue to decline because I don't even think he's been capable of upholding it in a certain level. And he never adapted fully to his surroundings. Instead, he was turned out in a way that has us looking at him different. Just is what it is.